I timed my whole video processing this week, and the numbers surprised me. 9 months in of daily long form YouTube videos. I recently started like just tracking the numbers, like trying to get from the ideation to the publish, like when I published the video, like how long it took to do. And it was averaging close to 2 hours a day for some days, most days actually. Hi, I am Nene, and I help people become the person that goals require them to be. And everything I share here, it is something that I have lived first, and then I talk about it, right? And if you're building something daily or repeatedly and feel like, this process itself is eating more time than it should be, then yeah, this one's for you. Like let's talk about it, because when I was like really conscious, as we know, YouTube dropped the bombshell on us that look, from the 1st of February, I believe it's the 1st of February next year, the to get monetized is doubling. Yeah, and I talked about it in a previous video. And so now I'm wanting to be more intentional, because the last 9 months I've been working on just building my storytelling, being comfortable in front of the camera, like just really expressing. I think I have like achieved that to a certain degree, like structuring. Like in the beginning, I'll just riff. Sometimes I didn't even know how to end a video. I didn't even know like what. But now I feel like, okay, now I've got this down, and I'm seeing other people as well who are like doing the same style of videos that I do and stuff like that, are now monetizing. They're now so I'm like, yeah, in the beginning, it was really genuinely, I was just doing this so that I can put stuff out there, people can know what it is that I do, and then they know, okay, this is how Nene can support. Like collapsing that time of, oh, there is an array of things to watch, right? Of what I have done. And when I was like, now with this intention, now let's move, let's look, we've got just under 6 months, thereabout, before this thing changes. Why not? Why is possible to achieve? So now we've been intentional, and like, let's really look at it. Really now looking at like the back ends of stuff, and like, okay, now I am doing this thing and it's taking me 2 hours. And sometimes, because of like I'm committed to doing this thing, especially to the end of the year, I'm another things tend to kind of like stay in the wayside. And I want to like, just be intentional, collapse time, like what is the decision makings that I'm doing in this thing. Because when I have the idea, if I'm doing a series, it's easier, because sometimes, like when I did my 10-part series of like new interpreter series, that like I had thought about it and scheduled it out, and I knew what I was going to, the topics, and then I would just kind of like riff on the idea. When I do have like standalone, and then I also like series are fine, because like how good, show me how great the day can be series, that one's like, when I have like just standalone of like things that are just happening, or like I did another series where I talked about like in the 20 years, like all the stories and like the juicy stories that have happened, and I would just chip into those from time to time. I haven't been great at playlisting them properly yet. It's part of the yes to do later things that I get to do for this channel, to like really make things optimized and everything. And so when I just looked at like, okay, I have a standalone video, I get the idea, I brainstorm the idea. So what I would do is the scenario, I would just like riff it to my phone. So I tend to use Claude, to just kind of like word vomit the whole experience. Like sometimes I will have a sandwich, like depending on how, like I could do story teach too, or it could just be having conversation. We're having a coffee chat with friends. I'm just, or it could be kind of like explaining a program that I'm doing, or whatever that is. I would just kind of like say what I want, so that like, okay, this is a thought. Then it's now time to put it into like a way that I could express it properly. I do have an app that can like help, because this is the thing. If you don't capture people, or have people have an idea of what it is you're saying, they could, oh no. Or if what you've your title is, and they come in and it's like, oh, again. This is the season I'm in, is like working on the retention, working on the watch time. Now that we're now comfortable with the expression, comfortable with just doing the motion. So the ideation, give out the information like into that, and then get the pointers of like, okay, this is kind of like what the whole concept is. Then I take it to an app that would then give me like a fine tune of, oh, this hook will be great for this, what you're about to say. From what you said, this is the outlines to get to like do. When I started off very scripted, and then I went into just riffing, just talk, and then it wasn't making sense. And I went into, when I wanted to like talk about a certain thing that was promoting, then I went back to like heavily being scripted and stuff. Now I have an outline that I use. Like I have like my hook that I want, like I say, which sometimes I memorize and say, sometimes I like, oh, I've got the capacity. I read it out, and then I would then have just bullet points of like, okay, here is the hook, the what the video is about, that your intro, the talk about the idea, talk about this, just like, so I can then just start riffing. So that's kind of like what the app helps to structure out for me so that it could be as clear. And so I have that. I take it back to Claudia, would then clean it off so that it can then be more me and stuff like that, and the structure and everything. So see how the time is going. And sometimes my ideation, like when I say stuff, oh man, when I gave instructions to Claudia to ask me questions, sometimes she would like clarify. I'm like, baby, let's just look. Capacity, because you have high capacity, low capacity, depending on when in the day I'm doing it. And if like going back and forth, sometimes it doesn't quite get what I'm trying to say. So that bit as well can drag. Once I now have the outline, I would then I've only recorded over Zoom, and I use my webcam. I've updated it. Let me know if you've been following like this quality. I'm not using daylight. I normally use daylight to film, but I'm using artificial light right now. But anyway, film my thing. And then once it's filmed, I would then go into like what I'm trying to do right now is not like as soon as I hit record and I have the countdown from because I use Zoom clips. When I get the countdown, I want to go straight in and start talking. Because if not, what I tend to do is I go then to CapCut to clean up the front end and back end where before I'm waiting for that countdown and like get my breath and go. And then after I've gone my goodbye, and then like I'm clicking off and see me clicking off, like clean that off, and then it then renders and downloads, and I then upload onto YouTube. Then that's depending on the duration, the length of the video can also then start taking time to process. So I'm working on not needing to go through CapCut if I can avoid that, because that'll be an extra 30 to 40 minutes that I would just not need, or sometimes depending on the length of the video. I average maybe about 20 minutes on CapCut, just clipping those two bits and just waiting for it to, side note, my laptop isn't like a latest new one right now, but it's very functioning, and I'm like putting stuff. Soon I would have to just move all my videos off the what is to my Google Docs, Google Memory, or whatever it is, so that to free up space. But yes, we're in the grace of my laptop, but we're still rolling. There was a time when it's like, no, we don't have any more space. I had to do that. So I think I'm getting close to that point again, because look, I think I don't even know how many videos do I have right now, because the last time I did it, I think I had up to like 100 plus that I had to transfer. I'll get to do that again soon. So hopefully that's very soon. Maybe yeah. Anyway, so if I can cut out that CapCut. Oh my gosh, my thing's not charging. Look, let's make sure we are. Uh-oh, 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 uh-oh. Don't know. I'm gonna put you back so at least you can. Just need to make sure this thing is charging properly. It's tangled on my chair. Da, 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 da. Okay, let's just leave things like this. So I'll play along the wire. I'll move my chair later. Anyway, if I can avoid CapCut, that would be great. Then I can then go straight into uploading onto YouTube. And then with YouTube, it's all right. That's why another time, it can take time as well on that front in terms of how long it uploads the video. And even with the upload, like once it's uploaded, I didn't have to wait for the transcript, because if it uploads, it has to process it, then it has to. So even after I've uploaded it, I need to wait sometimes 10, 15 minutes for it to do its thing, even though it said it's been uploaded, for me to get a transcript. What I was doing before, because I've been trying to cut the time I'm using, I was using a different app called Ottawa to transcribe it. And then I will now use that to then get the timestamps and everything. But I found that actually to get the accurate best one is to upload the video and then use the transcript, because that would have the time stamps to get the accurate chapter, like phrasing, and people just want to go to a certain point and stuff like that. Yeah, that I found works better. So I have to wait to get the one from YouTube itself, so it can sync and it's proper and it's everything. And thank goodness I don't have to, YouTube has its own caption thing that I don't have to do. Although I've honestly, because of capacity and everything, I haven't gone back to like there was a time when I go back and just check, okay, some words like, your girl's sometimes got an accent and he doesn't understand what we're saying, or he thinks we're saying something and then it's saying something else. But hopefully no one has said anything yet, so we're good. I'm just happy that at least it is captions for those who require. And there's sometimes like I'm out and about, I don't have my earphones, and I want to watch or see something, I use a transcript. So it's not just for the intention that it's required. Like everyone has a benefit of using captions. So I'm glad that's there. So I don't really have to do too much on that front. Thank goodness. So once that's now uploaded, then it's now time so I get the transcript, take it down, we do our thing. I get my description, I get my my title and the thumbnail. And I'm now trying something new, where I've been doing this now for the last almost 2 weeks now, a week and a bit, where I'm doing this A/B testing. I really don't understand how it works. I was, with time we will get to figure out what that looks like. But I find that I'm having actually somewhat more views in a way, but I don't know which one, where people are watching from. That bit I don't know yet. But with the two different thumbnails and title, seems to be doing its thing, I think. Or like certain videos, like especially it's testing out two different titles. So that's happening. So now that's an extra time I'm putting into creating two different thumbnails, the title, putting all the stuff in, getting the tags that's going, all the various things to put on, and then upload. When it's too much, I tend to like, you know what, we're not doing this thumbnail, and I will come back to it. But what I found, if you look through my thing, there's some that don't have thumbnails, because it was one of those like, oh, we'll come back to it. And now I'm wanting to, we're doing it, wanting to like, just let's do everything to completion before we upload. And like, just let's do it. Or before I upload the next one, get the thumbnail in for the video, so that to start getting that habit in of like, just let's just get this clean. If not, life would life, and we would not we won't have a thumbnail. So, but I'm finding with this A/B testing thing, you have to have the thumbnail. So it's making me create a thumbnail. And this is where now the work comes in. Because in the beginning, it was a case of like, you know how I use ChatGPT to create my thumbnails. And sometimes I'm sure if you look at some of my thumbnail, be like, Nene, that I don't you doesn't look like you, but it look like you. My thing now, before I would like, I'll keep changing, no, that's not me. Remember my birthmark, but now I'm like, baby, let it be easy, let it flow. It is, as long as it gets the right emotion that I want, as long as it gets the thumbnail feeling that is there, and it has as much likeness to me, and it's what I'm wearing is kind of like what's in the, what's the word, in the frame, in the thumbnail, we just use it. We like, I've given myself grace in like, oh, it has to look like, or it has to like, if not, honestly, I'll be going back and back and like, and I'm finding, because I'm doing the thumbnails and uploading all these things towards the end of the day, which is later for me, just before I go to bed. And I guess because everyone's using the system, the Wi-Fi just is slower, that I find like I'm just circling and circling in this creation as like, okay, I need to find a better way to get this thing done quicker. So hence that, that bit's kind of like draggy on and all that. So once the tunnel is done, I put the description, put the tags, publish it. Before I would want to give like a, because I when you do a premiere, again, your subscribers will be notified and they can be alert, and that'll be great when I can do that. But my capacity right now, because of how late I am, I just have to just publish the thing, publish it, and hit go. It's life. And then whatever conversational, just to start bringing engagement, start bringing conversation to the page, I would then put in a comment, a pinned comment. I've not necessarily been pinning it, but I intend to pin it so that when the engagement starts happening, I would, what's the word? I would have that on. So yeah, so it's like very being intentional about like, how can I, like, to the thought of, my goodness, the last 9 months, I've been averaging maybe this or even longer. Because you remember, like in the beginning, like once I don't even know all this like quick method I'm doing, probably was doing this thing longer, and I was showing up in other places. Now I'm not even showing up as much in other places. I want to get back into showing up in other places and be more intentional, even though this is my thing. Because I'm in this like, maybe this Dululu, like I can be monetized before this thing ends. Like that's how delulu I am on this thing. Like, okay, what are we doing? Because my Raz is just everywhere, looking for other places, and just speaking to other people who feel the same way, and like what strategies are one using to increase the watch time. I am 155 humans away. Thank you so much for all the love and all the subscribers. I appreciate you. And if you haven't done so already, this will be a good time to add to the pot of like to subscribe. So I get to that, at least that mean like the 1,000. My thing, I know I'm Dululu. Like, can't imagine. Like we can do this before the end of September. Yes, I put it out there. Let's yeah. Put it out there. And like I can get 155 people to say, Nene, okay, let me support you in getting to this thing. And then we work on, let's build this watch time. Let's start building that community. Because my true goal is to have a thriving community of like-minded people who are on that same version, like wanting to build, and we get to create this together. So that's the next step. But I really, I know that it is possible, especially like I'm not doing this alone. There are other people who I'm in a community with that also wanting that desire of like, yes, we get to showcase ourselves in doing the things that we need to do to get to that point where we cross this thing. So we're not doing double the effort for the 8,000 that they're intending to it to be for the next one. And I feel like once this is done, I'm sure it'll be easier to, if I say I want to like create a different account, whatever. But this is the thing. Um, and in this season of like slowing down to speed up, like really looking at the back end of things as well. Looking at like my banner is confusing folks on exactly what it is that I'm doing and how I support people. So like in the talks right now with someone on Fiverr to just jig it up. Like let's change it to show all aspect of me, and then I get to, what's the word? Clean up the description so it's easier, simpler, not so technical. Like interpreter is still going to be part of the people, the first people I support and help, and like as I am this evolve like has I'm evolving what I'm wanting to spend my who I'm supporting and who comes in like, oh, like, okay, let's do it, let's support, like that's where I'm going with. That's what's happening. So it's been interesting to have that realization that, okay, this slowing down to speed up can sometimes, can become an excuse of not truly doing a thing, because I'm thinking like the other stuff where I get to like where I'm I actually have people that I tend to work with, and I'm not truly showing up there as much because I'm so heavily on this side of the pond, YouTube, that I'm like, oh, okay, this slowing down, thinking, okay, let's be intentional here, is also affecting how when you're showing up in less in other places. So being intentional about the time I'm spending here, I'll be able to make more room and space to be able to show up in other places, or think about how I can use resources and be supported. I was speaking to my husband about it and he gave me this brilliant idea. I was like, oh, I never thought about that. I mean, never saw it that way, you know? So that is what I'm like, I implement that. And once that's in motion and I have lived it, I've done it, I'll come tell you what's up? Like what's that gets to look like? Because why not? Why not? We're showing up here, we're doing the thing, and it's exciting. And I'm excited by it. So yeah, this is the being like for you anyway, like it's not that I'm trying to do less. I'm trying to make more room for more, right? I'm trying to make more room for by just taking and making something like less, like if you can just crunch down this thing, because now that I have like cut down on like how many thumbnails like no, 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 like no. In the beginning I used to would do a take with my like trying to get the hook right, repeat take. Now I don't. So right now I'm not actually live on TikTok, but I tend to go live on TikTok. By being live on TikTok, I'm not doing like, okay, oh no, let's start again. Oh, let's start. No, one take and that's it. Because now people are watching. Like, Nene, what you? Oh, you're like no, and just showing the realness of it. Like I had my battery was tangled. The wire, like I had to move it. Like it's real. Like, we're doing this when we have capacity and we have the resources to get support and all those things. Hey, we can then take it from there and make this thing more exciting and start learning. So it's yeah, let's do this one thing less. Like let's scrunch it down. And in a couple of weeks would my next Sunday report about hey how this monetization journey is going. I guess we can make this into a series because and just report like how things are going and what's what's not. Let me know in the comment section how often do you do yours? Is your content daily, or like you have specific days or whatever? Or actually more interesting that we can talk about actually is, okay, I mean, what your process is in from ideation to producing when it comes to, because sometimes even the short form idea will just come like I can just like roll with it, but I want to be more intentional. So like, yeah, let's compare notes, because how long is it taking you to do your thing? Because sometimes I feel like even my language, like if I just go like, oh man, I can't, man, my brain just like, yeah, we can't. And that's why I always celebrate after every video, because it gives me that like drive to like, yes, we're doing this. We're following through. We're like, this is happening. So it doesn't feel like, oh, I have to do, I haven't done my, like, I've honestly can say that I don't have that feeling. If it is like, oh, I haven't done my video yet. That's how I, well, like when it gets to be like, oh, okay, we get to do my video. All right. It's not like, oh man, it's a different feeling, because I remember when I did this challenge before on Instagram where I was in there like, oh my gosh, I haven't done music. Like it was like a dread feeling. Now it's like, oh, not yet. Okay. It's a different thing. So it's not the doing or the process of it. It's just how long it actually, like, wow, seen on paper that actually it takes this long. How can we like bring this down? And I know there are other people who even do more complicated stitched stuff and of daily posts, like kudos to them that they do and add all those things. Will we get there? As capacity, I'm giving myself that grace that this muscle we're building to say, hey, we've been doing this, it might not look like, oh gosh, wow, you've been doing this, but it's not truly showing. Like, look, in me it's showing, in the becoming, in the habit. It's like when I tell people I've been doing it, oh, like, yeah. And the family is there, the job is there, the other things that I'm doing, the side, the business, and other things that I am trying to do is there as well. So that bit I am so glad for. And I would like to really compare notes to how do you do yours? Like how long does it take? What's your bottleneck, and what's that thing for you? And yeah, let's compare notes down in the comment section. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe, because we do this every single day. And remember that your voice matters, and it is your time to use it. Bye for now.